some of the comments that were made by the audience. First of all, I think we're far away from measuring or imagining, and we're very much underestimating the power and the consequences of the repercussions of IT. And when you mention maybe, Facebook versus, one-on-one or phone calls to rally, obviously Facebook to me and some of the social networking, and I would echo what you said, I think it's not and or, I think it's and plus or. I think traditional philanthropy is gone. And it brings a lot of pressure to us to be a lot smarter at the way we give and donate, a lot smarter and much more aligned to the needs of the community we serve, which I'm not sure we were in the past. I think this is really a new trend we're seeing everywhere, and also comments from the NGOs coming back to us saying, money and writing a check is no longer, what we need. We need your expertise. We need you to help us, share this knowledge. So I think the pressure is a lot tougher on us.
Current systems we have in place for support reach a very limited number of people who are educated. Those people who can communicate with the non-Roma world, who can consume the information they received. And through Kaskasan, we managed to pull up a community. Let me just give you a couple of examples, and this is where online and offline is coming in. There is a Roma guy sitting in front of his computer and dancing, imitating Michael Jackson, right? Has never been on stage before. And through Kaskasan, this guy got a gig in Istanbul, and he's going to make now €1,500 a month, plus all his accommodation costs covered and everything. And there are another 30 people who are getting the same thing, Then there is little Grofo. I talked about him. This guy is 16 years old, very handsome guy, good-looking guy. He looks like an Indian celebrity. He has millions of fans on YouTube, but this guy isn't educated, right? And he's, up to now, he was walking on the same path that his father was walking on, becoming a celebrity within the community and making good money, but staying within the community. Now, he went to a workshop in Prague last week, and this was the first time for him to actually meet offline with Roma people he saw on Kaskasan, but he didn't really get them. And he got to understand their dialects, the values those guys have, and understand that there is another path as well. And there were another 40 people besides him who got the same opportunity from Czech, Slovakia, Germany, and Hungary. I had a question how to sustain the interest. That's a very interesting question there. What we did was providing content for people, and that's what we still do today. And it's video content that's very interesting for people. It's very easy to do it. You just embed YouTube into your HTML, and there you go. You just upload your video onto YouTube, and you can share the content. And once you have users producing content also, and of course you have that, you can get them voted on, and the more popular ones can go into the login page, So there's interesting content for them. The second area of content we are considering now is history. Because few Roma people know, believe it or not, that we had a Holocaust, for example. Few Roma people know that the history of the Roma people began with Holocaust. So providing content regularly is a good way to sustain the interest. Another thing is targeting. What we do is we create opportunities, right? I gave you this example where dancers now get gigs in Istanbul in a top casino where they are making €1,500 a month. As I told you before, we only had €25,000 for this entire project, what we've done in the past year. But we do not have the money for setting up the gigs and everything. There is an NGO behind that, right? And we connected the NGO with the people, right? The NGO has no outreach to the people. The NGO cannot find the people. So we have the new media there, and we connect these guys together, right? We give them the information, and we bring them together offline as well. And this is what we want to build on now. We want to communicate with more NGOs and better serve the NGOs and the funders community, and set up online conferences, training with the community face to face.
As a European, I want to comment on the Obama campaign just from the point of view. No, but you know what I found interesting, I signed up for all the Obama campaign and because I wanted to know, where I used to live in the States, what they are organizing, how they are organizing it. And it goes actually back to your question about how you keep this momentum. Up to these days, I am getting the emails, from Mr. Obama, Michelle Obama, also from John Biden. Never signed up for that, but yeah, so it's, they are keeping the momentum and they're constantly, even as a European citizen, no voter, I'm American, I am constantly being mobilized, to do something, help reform anything, what's going on. With that, being said, they also, the Obama's campaign people lost the elections of the Mr. Parobek, in the Czech Republic, just for you who follow the world politics. It was the campaign, which was not usable for the Czech audience and maybe also because they picked the wrong party, the Socialist Party, and the guy resigned just recently to the joy of many other people. With that, maybe to also just maybe the blogging, how we feel, you already once you gather your audience, the knowledge is so much there, and people just really profit, from exchanging the information, and then you providing and facilitating some new information. That goes back to I am just so much against the monopoly, even though as much as I would love to have monopoly on some of the products we are doing. 40 years of communism in our countries, no monopoly, market economy is wonderful. Somebody mentioned Estonia. We didn't talk about it, but the role of government, in Estonia, the e-government has had fantastic impact, on on saving, the amount of papers. And at the same time, there is nothing better, to fight corruption in the countries than online public procurement. We don't have it in many of our countries, and that's where we stand on the corruption indexes. Maybe just the third or fourth point, which I think we also didn't talk about, and it is the danger and the risks, on the internet. And with that little advertisement also for Microsoft, in Slovakia, we are doing together with TechSoup trainings for parents, about the risks of the internet. And everybody from our foundation who has kids has to participate. And then maybe just the last thing is also the reusage, the recycling of also hardware. We do this for Dell as green notebooks, distributing it again for the NGOs. There is again, the way how some of the cell phones, which in some of the Western countries might not be anymore usable because the life in Western countries is so short for these cell phones, can be still used, for people in Africa and other places. And there are already, these ways how to do it and how to advance the life in this for these people.
For me, this workshop is in connection to another workshop that was celebrated in Vienna in the Inclusion Conference at the end of 2008, where we celebrated a workshop on the role of the third sector in the inclusion field. And I remember that there was a discussion between inclusion and social inclusion. Let's say if inclusion is something that has its autonomy or it's part of the social inclusion process. And I personally believe that ICT is really acting as a catalyst and as an accelerator of social changes. So this is an opportunity for me, for the NGOs, and many of them are already taking advantage of this fact. What is still missed, I think, and it's something that I hear a lot of time here, is to measure the impact, to show what to show the results. Let's say the social impact that is being produced thanks to the technology.
Could have this conversation, and up to us to continue this type of dialogue. I think that's really important. And also congratulations to TechSoup, because I think your initial goal and objectives of having a lively group and a really uplifting, and lively and vivid conversation was definitely met.